Hey there guys, Ultraviolence here, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a quick little video on just setting up God Complex and overcoming little bugs or general issues you might be having, especially with things like the HUD and the health bars and stuff not looking like they should. When I released God Complex for GZ Doom, I did get quite a few people telling me that their health bars and the HUD was just looking weird. So I kind of want to delve into that and just go over some of the solutions or things that might be just wrong with your GZ Doom, some wacky settings you might have on without realizing it and stuff like that. What we'll be covering is that. We'll also be going over progression settings and explaining how some of that stuff works. The spawn protection stuff that controls how many tough cyber demon bosses can spawn and things like that. We got keybinds as well. We'll be going over all the important keybinds. First things first, we're going to talk about health bar alignment and scale, screen size, all that stuff. Let me just shoot so this boy shows up. Got a desolator over here. You can see my health bars showing up in the middle of the screen. So one of the things that went wrong when God Complex first released for GZ Doom is I didn't have the health bars programmed to take into account people's resolution. So I play on 1080p, so I made my health bars and stuff look good at 1080p. I didn't really think about 1440p, I kind of just hoped that it would just work, and it didn't just work. But I did provide options for people to align their own health bars and stuff. Let me just get rid of that so it's not in the background. I did add options for people to like align the health bars themselves, but it was still kind of annoying to do. The health bar stuff is much simpler now. Before there was like a whole wall of text here. It's simple now. Health bars will now automatically align to the center of the screen horizontally. So essentially, before, if you had a different resolution or some other weird settings we'll talk about later, if you had one of those things on or a different resolution, the health bars would have been like to the left somewhere and the monster names would have been to the right somewhere, and it was just annoying. Like, yeah, you could align it yourself, but it was just frustrating and to deal with. I watched Icarus Lives play God Complex on his stream, and that was one of the things that just like, it was a wake-up call to see him deal with some issues, some like harder to understand things that were going on. And yeah, so I buckled down and I put in the effort and I made the health bars align to the center. It was hard, man. It took like all day to figure that shit out, but I did it. So yeah, now you only have to align them vertically. So you can come in here, monster health bars up, down, monster names up, down, they move separately. You've got your armor only option if you decide to play with a different health bar, which is understandable. Make sure you load this health bar mod still and just turn on armor only, because you want to be able to see monster armor and their stamina bar as well, which this will enable. If you're having problems with health bars and they're not aligning properly still, here are some things you can do. If you boot up God Complex and it looks like this, or it looks like this, or whatever, you need to set your screen size to 11. You can use the plus and minus keys, but I know some different keyboards around the world from different countries have different layouts, so maybe plus minus doesn't work. If plus and minus doesn't work, you can come into display options in options and you can go to screen size and just set that to 11. As you can see, it's the same thing. 11 will make your HUD appear. Hallelujah. That's fixed if you had that problem. Another thing that can cause issues is in the set video mode. This option here, scale factor, I do not know what the purpose of this is, but essentially if I'm dragging it, you can look at it's messing with my screen. It's making shit weird. Not a fan, but I would highly recommend setting this to 1. If you can't get it on 1, move it all the way to the left with the arrow keys and then just do arrow key to the right. That way it's like set. It'll always go to 1 if you do that. I would recommend doing that. Unless you need this for some reason. At least now with the automatically aligning health bars, it should be fine. But, I mean, look, I can move it to somewhere else and you can see, like, it's still in the middle. You just have to change the verticalness of them, but let's not look at that anymore. I don't like looking at that. I really don't. Okay? Okay, back to normal. Alright, feels good again. What's another thing that can help? Okay, so let's say you're playing at 1440p, alright? Let's go 2560 and 1440. You have to click apply changes or else it won't take effect. So the size of my HUD has moved a little bit. I would recommend playing at 1080p if you can, but I know if you've got a 1440p monitor, then, you know, do what you want to do. Play at your own risk. It's fine, but I would recommend 1080 for sure. Where things look normal, and we'll put the item bar back down. Yeah, if the item bar is looking weird, I know some people said that the item bar, like item names and text, was stuck to the top of the screen. That would have been because your item bar was set to over 4. It needs to be set to, because the item bar setting is actually the same setting as what is in HUD options, scaling options, and status bar. I believe that's it there. If I bring up the items, let's go into it again. HUD, scaling, status bar. Oh, is it full screen HUD? I guess full screen HUD moves that, as you can see. So you might have just had this up really high or something, and that's what was causing the text to go to the top of the screen. The text only reads numbers 1 to 4. That's just how I've set it up. I'm not a professional coder, but it was easy for me to do it this way. Let's just leave it at 3 or 2. I like it on 2. Probably better for videos at 3, but whatever, man. No one has complained yet. And yeah, I think that's just about it for the potential problems. Make sure if you have any issues that you check out the README file that comes with the download. There are solutions to problems in there as well, especially like HUD stuff and how the game looks. So the next thing we'll go over is the progression stuff. Let's change map to God Complex Test 1. We can look at the spawns here a little bit and you can sort of get an idea on how progression works. So if I click this button, let's just do a save. If I do a save, you can see here, it spawns a bunch of monsters. I can just turn on fly and no target and God mode, and I come out here, I can see what spawned. We got a legendary spawn here. It's got the glow. Essentially, when these spawners see you, that's how they decide what to spawn. Take off, it's gonna lag a little bit, but if I take off no target, it'll spawn something. As you can see, we got a rev. A revenant was set to spawn there. It was surrounded by revs. And the game was like, okay, you've got no fragments. You're at tier 0. We're going to spawn a legendary revenant. That's basically how that works. But if I go and do this and give myself some fragments, we're now leveling up. As you can see in the top left corner of the screen, it says tier 4. My progression settings are here. So to reach tier 4, we had to get 2 enraged fragments. I have it set really low for testing, but like if you're playing a game, a real map, you'd have it set higher. And now if I do the same thing, turn on God mode, fly, no target, I come out here. We've got a couple of spawns. I'm going to take off no target. We're going to do something different this time. It's probably enraged, maybe a nemesis monster. Okay, so we got... In fact, I can just do a freeze, because freeze now works on all monsters. What's up, yo? So we've got an enraged redeemer, and we've got an enraged baby sentient. So because we're at a higher tier, there's a higher chance to get the higher level bosses. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's how progression works. If you're new to the mod and you don't really know what to set your progression settings to, you can go into progression presets here. And I've just got a bunch of different like map sets set here. So if you're playing a WoD that's a map set that's a similar size, it has a lot of monsters, it's like Alien Vendetta, then you click the Alien Vendetta option and it's going to set the fragment requirements to settings that I would recommend for Alien Vendetta. If you're playing a big slaughter WoD or like a compilation WoD that has like 50 or 100 maps in it, I would pick Chillax. Chillax slow, in fact. I would probably put the settings even higher. And once you've played the game for a bit, you might actually decide that you really enjoy the gameplay more around tier 1, tier 2, and you can just sort of draw that out. That way you spend more time in that tier, that gameplay. I really like the gameplay around tier 3 and 4 the most. I try to drag that out. And once you get to tier 7 plus, you know, the game gets a little bit extra spicy, a little bit extra chaotic, and while it's fun and exciting, it's not quite as focused and like sharp as I feel like the gameplay is around tier 3 and 4. Everyone, like, you know, so it's a variety thing. The game is dynamic. It changes over time depending on what level you're at. And yeah, you might just find that you prefer certain parts of the progression. We've also got level up bosses down here, which I would probably turn on if I was playing. I definitely would turn on if I was playing. When you level up and you reach a new tier, it will spawn a set boss for you to fight. There's some special bosses there. Seraphim bosses are unique bosses that I would probably turn off if you're new. They're pretty... They're a bit intense, and they essentially spawn when you meet some conditions. And you can also turn on secret fragments if you want. I would actually probably turn this off, to be honest. It ended up being a pretty detrimental setting for progression, because the way it works is you get fragments from... In fact, I haven't even said that yet. How do you get fragments? Well, that's probably an important thing, right? Summon legendary imp, okay? Kill this guy. He drops a fragment. Legendary monsters will always drop a legendary fragment. Enrage will always drop an enraged fragment, the red ones. And Nemesis monsters will always drop Nemesis fragments, the orangey, browny ones. I don't know what color that is, to be honest. I think it's orange. And yes, that's how you level up. The problem is with finding fragments in secrets is you're not getting weapons as well. So like when you kill a legendary monster, they're likely going to drop a power up or a rune or a weapon, and that's going to help you get stronger. The idea is as you get these weapons and you collect these fragments, you're getting stronger over time. But if you just get a fragment in a secret, then you're just getting the fragment. You're not getting a weapon, and you're not actually becoming stronger. You're just getting a fragment. You're just leveling up, but you're not actually getting stronger. So this setting is kind of bad. I've actually gone and lowered the frequency of secret spawning fragments recently. Yeah, I'd probably turn this off, to be honest. I don't think it's a good setting, but it's there. And now there's also a new setting called start at tier. It's like a jump start thing. If you want to start a new game and you just want to get right into the thick of things, you can like pick like, because it goes up to tier 6, you can't set it over tier 6 right now. I might add that in the future, but if I wanted to start a new game at tier 4, set it to tier 4, start a new game, and it's gonna give me the fragments required to get to tier 4. If I go and turn my progression settings up, you'll see that I got 3 fragments for each of them just then, because that's what it's set to. It'll give you like the amount you need plus 1. If I go and like do this, okay, let's go right up to the top. I start a new game with that setting on still. It's going to give me all those fragments. And again, I've leveled up. It gives you a bunch of weapons. As you can see, you get to jump, and items as well. You get to jump right into it. So that's pretty sweet. Let's do a tier 6 and see what we get. I wonder if we get a Nemesis Runa. I'm not sure if I added that or not. Do tier 6. Yeah, you're getting a bunch of pop-ups because, yeah, you do get a Nemesis Rune as well, so that's pretty sweet. Gets you right into the action, you get to experience the higher levels of God Complex, the difficulties. Anyway, that's how that works. And then you can come in and you can actually experience the greatness of late-level God Complex, where you get to use all these cool weapons. There's like a sparkly effect when you shoot the enraged LMG at a wall now, which is kind of nice, it looks cool. This has been reworked. Got some effects there. Rework to the EFG. This is a lot stronger now. Anyway, this little... I shouldn't be talking about this right now. We're focusing on how to play the game, right? Not this crap. Okay, what's next? We're still... Anything else to say about progression? Oh yeah, so we've also got these other 2 settings up here. Less boss options and extra boss options. I would not mess with these. I would turn this off if you're just new to the game, to be honest. But basically what this does is if you go a certain amount of monsters, which you set down here without running into a legendary boss, like a boss and killing it, the game will spawn one for you. It's just to help with bad RNG on maps that are just sort of under-delivering. But, you know, I had this automatically on, and this really was very detrimental to Icarus Liv's first time playing God Complex. I really wish that this was off when he was playing, but you know, it is what it is. And then we got the less boss options, which is for Cyber Demons and Masterminds. Now what this does is it checks the... So you can turn auto protection off and set all these however you want. The higher the setting is, the stronger the chances of getting a weak Cyber Demon. This is about adding fodder Cyber Demons to the spawns. For like slaughter maps that spawn like 20 Cybers, you don't want 20 Nemesis Cyber Demons spawning. You want some fodder mixed in there to keep the gameplay smooth and just moving. Because if you get stuck on a hard boss every, like, you know, every Cyber you run into that takes like 10 minutes to kill, it's not like fun, I don't think. I think it just gets exhausting. It's good to have some fodder mixed in there. So you can set this yourself to set it high if you're playing a slaughter map, or you can come and turn auto protection on, which reads the amount of Cyber Demons in a map and adjusts the settings as you go. I can just spawn a bunch of Cyber Demons here. So I got testing on, and now I can see the Cybers, and if we go and look at our progression settings now, they will have changed. Yep, they're up to 210 because so many Cybers just spawned. And what this did is it made sure that there were a bunch of fodder Cyber Demons in the mix. We got like Phase Cyber, Cardinals, which are pretty weak in the grand scheme of things. If I go and turn that setting off, let's level up a little bit. Got a tier 6. If I now turn off the spawn protection and I leave it down there, every boss is just about every boss will be a tough boss. And yeah, the spawns are very different now. There really isn't much fodder mixed in here at all. Okay, we've got some Clockwork Annihilators. These are foddery. But yeah, a lot more tough bosses. I would recommend putting auto protection on, leaving it on. It is helpful. Let's go over the keybinds. This is very important for new players especially. I've gone and added all the important keybinds to a menu option here, important keybinds, and this has all the stuff you need. You don't have to go into options controls anymore to find the, like, God Complex specific things, but you can. I have actually updated Complex Doom. I originally didn't want to do it, but I just said, I said screw it. After watching Icarus Lives, like, try and find controls and seeing all the defunct, no longer working controls that were still there for Complex Doom, and him looking at them thinking if he should bind them or not, I was like, you know what, this has got to go, so I did it. So there is going to be an updated Complex Doom in the description, in the download folders, whatever. Make sure you get that, and it'll get rid of all this crap that used to be here. But yeah, this stuff is here now, and you can find it all in important keybinds. Very important to bind use personal shield. This is a must-have. It is essential for survival, I would say. Essentially, when you're fighting legendary monsters like this shit and bosses, like this shit helps so much, especially once you level up a bit. You'll see that, like, when I get fragments, the little shield icon in the bottom left corner of the screen, that's your shield sphere, or that's your shield recharge, I should say, is what it's called now. it levels up. So now I've leveled up one. I've got like this little yellow lines as well. That just shows that it's a bit stronger now. I can even print my buffs, and you can see that my personal shield is plus 8 seconds, and then it's better than it was before. And to print that stuff, you go into keybinds, and we've got the list active buffs down here that will show you all of your active buffs. It'll show armor now as well. I think it did. So yeah, armor stats. Effectiveness is the most important stat, it's true. It shows that there are different resistances that it gives, and then, yeah, effectiveness is like how much health it protects versus how much damage the armor takes. It's a weird stat, but just trust me, the higher that number is, the better, even if it's by a little bit. It makes a big difference.